I now recognize the ranking member for any closing statement that he would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over the course of today's hearing, we have heard baseless allegation after baseless allegation and unsubstantiated claim after unsubstantiated claim about Drs. Fauci and Collins and their involvement with the Proximal Origin paper. The Select Subcommittee has reviewed thousands of pages of internal documents and conducted transcribed interviews with authors of the paper, which has only revealed that Drs. Fauci and Collins had little to no involvement in the drafting of and publication of the paper. Findings that have only been confirmed once again by testimony in today's hearing. Rather than following the facts of their own investigation, my Republican colleagues have only doubled down on their unproven conspiratorial accusations, using this Select Subcommittee's far-reaching platform to vilify our nation's scientists and public health experts in the name of repairing trust after they have manufactured distrust and destroyed it. Every day, Select Subcommittee Republicans spend on advancing this partisan narrative. The American people pay the price. How? Every hour and taxpayer dollar of focusing and pushing this wrong, harmful, bias-centered narrative in political theater, instead of on investigating our experiences to garner forward-looking policy solutions to prevent and prepare for the next pandemic, comes at the expense of the American people and our public health. The fact is, the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic remain unknown. We have heard, this is a very interesting lab for the psychology of confirmation bias. Today, I mean, we've seen it. We have heard, when you have confirmation bias, you are set on your thinking, and now everything you do has to prove your narrative. So you pick and choose evidence and data. That's one method of doing it. The second method is you take things out of context, or you misrepresent the data or things that were said, like putting it in places and a piece of a puzzle to show your or prove your narrative. The third is that there's a lot of disregard of evidence or the truth that is contrary to the narrative. So in other words, if you say something confirming a truth, it's skipped over, it's disregarded. The truth just doesn't matter if it doesn't fit the narrative. And we even seen flat out lying today. Lying. For example, we have heard that the intelligence community strongly supports that this was a lab leak theory. The reality is that you have one agency with low confidence, you have another agency with moderate confidence that this was a lab leak theory, okay? 2 out of the 6 so far. They do not strongly, with high confidence, say that this was a lab leak, but we heard that they do from the other side. That's a lie. The data is there. That's not an opinion, because the facts has been presented. They have been studied. The next lie, flat out, was that most of the intelligence community agencies believe that this was a lab leak theory, declaring it as if it was true. Yet you have 4 agencies, it's math, guys, 4 agencies with low confidence saying this was zoonotic. You have 2 agencies with low to moderate saying that with low and moderate confidence that this was a lab leak. 4 is more than 2. 4 is more than 2. So that statement that is aligned with their narrative was a flat out lie. And in the absence of hard proof or access to information by the Chinese Communist Party, we may never know conclusively. I mean, we've looked at the intelligence agencies. We've passed a bill in a bipartisan way to make them public and reveal. There's no smoking gun in the intelligence community. It is still too low to moderate confidence on either side, with the majority saying they still think it's zoonotic. But that shouldn't stop us from considering both scenarios and working to keep us safer from the next deadly pandemic. We're on this side of the aisle, we're committed to objectively looking at the data and taking what we have in order to create policies, whether it was a lab leak theory, it's true, or whether it was zoonotic, but let's do something about it that will actually result in saving lives. So we need to get unstuck from this partisan quicksand. As ranking member of this select subcommittee, I take seriously the charge of understanding the origins of the novel coronavirus. And as a physician and public health expert, I know how this is crucial to our ability to better prevent and prepare for a future public health crisis. Unfortunately, today's hearing brought us nowhere closer to that goal. It has only continued the partisan narrative, the confirmation bias that has produced threats, intimidation, violent threats to our public health officials, the vilification of our nation's scientists, and continued to manufacture distrust in our public health officials. This, at the end of the day, will only harm our ability to respond to future public health crises and cost more American lives in another pandemic. I yield back.